name is Tina. Okay, if you have not seen me before, I would like for you to subscribe and make sure that you are leaving a like, comment, and follow, or whatever the fuck you like to do. Okay, so you can stay in memory of me and my page. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about how your decisions shape your reality. This is an obvious thing. Of course, your decisions do definitely shape your reality, but I feel like we as humans, we don't really understand to what depth that really goes to, and how much our decisions and what we do each and every day, who we connect with, what we invest into, can actually set the tone for our future. I feel like it was very important for me to take some time out for myself, figure life out, figure out how I would like to show up on this page. But I do feel like it is important for me to continue to come on here to enlighten you guys as well as myself. So with that being said, let's get into this video. First, I do feel like it is important for us to even be asking ourselves, like, who even came up with this idea or this theory that your decisions do shape your reality, okay? And the biggest theory that I subscribe to, especially as a spiritualist, okay, is the butterfly effect. So I did feel like it was important for me to write down the definition of what the butterfly effect is. Butterfly effect is a very small change or an event that can eventually lead to something much larger and unpredictable consequences in a complex system. And I do feel like that is a very big thing that I feel like not enough humans talk about, not enough people talk about on social media. Obviously, in my opinion, in my perception, I do feel like social media is surrounded by certain things that do not awaken the consciousness in, humanity right now. But that's why I'm here. The first thing that I personally feel like should be said on here when it comes to the decisions that you make and how it shapes your reality. The first thing that I said is you never know who's monitoring your life. Make certain moves to protect you in advance. I am a strong believer in intuition, okay? If you ever want to book a personal reading, okay, you guys could go into my description in my bio, all right, if you ever want to book. But I feel like since I'm such a strong believer on intuition, I do feel like your decisions should be associated with your gut feeling, okay? Say if you have like certain friends or certain colleagues, certain coworkers, certain people that you just surround yourself with on a daily basis, right? Or on a regular basis, okay? I do feel like it is honestly very important for whoever's watching this video to keep in mind that there's like a certain routine that you should always keep up for yourself that is constantly being updated and refreshed, if that makes sense, okay? And what I mean by updated and refreshed is, okay, there's a different version of yourself that is always coming through in the physical, in the 3D, every day. It's just all about what you perceived as an aligned version of you versus not. And again, you making certain decisions to get yourself into that alignment, right? So the entire point of me saying this is, ultimate point of me listing this first thing is, when you as a developed individual get the hang of your regimen, get the hang of your routine, get the hang of the things that you usually don't do or usually do in your life, right? Once you become very much conscious of what that is for you and how things work for you based upon how you do it each and every day, you don't realize it, or you may realize it, but over time, it is important for you to understand that this is actually creating a protective shield over you from certain things that you don't associate with, that you don't align with, that you do not resonate with. And that could be certain habits, certain types of people, certain backgrounds, certain ways of living that you may not subscribe to, that the next person may. And I do feel like when it comes to your routine and certain decisions that you make within your routine, okay, it could definitely either make or break you. But obviously this video is about putting you on the path of it making you, right? For example, like if you are the kind of person where you like to wake up in the morning, or you like to wake up in the morning and have your own little like self-care or your spiritual, ritual that you do each and every morning just to set the tone for your day, your week, right? You are going to make certain decisions that will feed and shape that reality to go further into the furthest extent that it can, right? But I feel like these things, if you don't take this into consideration of making sure that you're doing that, the people that are surrounded by you, okay, it's almost like the definition of their life, the way that things are in their life will overtake yours. Okay, it's kind of like that thing where it's like, okay, you have to stand for something or you would fall for anything type of shit. You understand what I'm saying? So I do feel like that is the first reason as to why I feel like the decisions that you make can definitely shape your reality, okay? Because people could definitely swoop in and try to, form a certain level of dominion over you and your life if you don't have something that you stand for within yourself. This second one, very, very big thing. It has been a very big lesson in my life, at least within the past 3 to 4 months, right? The second one is who you choose to connect with will make or break you. Okay? This is all decision-based concepts that I am bringing up right now, okay? Of course, it is self-explanatory, right? What I've recently started to realize in these past 3 months, the kind of people that I was connected to and dealing with, okay, whether if I felt like I resonated with them at that time or a lot as time went on or progressed over time, I realized that I did not resonate with them. I started to realize that my mental health, my emotions, my mentality, even certain results that I received in my life, it had so much to do with the types of people I was connected to. I do personally feel like when it comes to who you connect with, that can be a very complex topic because there could be so many different things and so many different reasons as to why you were connected to certain people. But focus on what you can control, okay? Focus on the relationships, the connections that you can control. Because, like, for example, I understand you can't necessarily, control how your supervisor is or how your manager is, but I ain't gonna lie, yes, you can. You could probably quit that motherfucking job. I'm not one, okay? On some real shit, though, like, from my own personal experience, I want to make sure I'm speaking from my own personal experience, which is why I'm on here. I realized that even like in a certain connection, in a romantic connection at one point that I was involved in, my mental health deteriorated being involved with that individual. But I took the conscious step to actually pull myself out of it fully, okay, even though it was very difficult for me to do. Again, decision. You see, I made that conscious decision to be like, okay, maybe I should, stop investing in this and see how my life changes. Me making that one decision about who I was associated with, especially because they had access to my heart, emotions, that caused a pivoting moment in my life. I decided to get therapy, okay, to address certain things, especially the concept of anxiety is a very big thing for me. And I can tell you, within the last 10 months, I have improved so much on an immense level. Like, I can't even describe like how much clearer my mind feels, how much more protected, how much more grounded that I feel just off of making that one decision to separate myself and create a boundary to where my life is now being built off of something else that does not involve this individual that I was once connected to at one point. I feel like that is just like a simple example to show in what way, like it's down to like how you think every day, how you feel, whether if you're happy or if you're depressed, whether if you're anxious or whether if you're calm. Who you associate with can definitely affect that. And if your mental health is affected based upon who you are connected to and they are not the best energy, right? It's almost like it affects your performance. It affects your concentration level. If it affects how you want to set your goals, and even if you set any at all. You understand what I'm saying? So that was like a hefty big one for me. And I do feel like that's ultimately why it's such a big thing to be more conscious of who you allow to have access to you. I could even find myself wanting to reconnect with this individual that I was once involved with romantically at one point. But each and every time the universe would show me as to why I needed to continue to move forward, and I needed to make sure that I wasn't doing anything that reassociated me with the individual. Last but not least, okay, because the second one, I feel like that was like the biggest portion of this, right? But this third one definitely ties in the entire video. The decisions you make today without you realizing will set the tone for your future. And I feel like I've already said something along the lines of that earlier in the video, but I wanted to break down this point. So let's talk about impulsive decisions, okay? Making hasty decisions, okay? Making decisions when you're in certain emotional or mental states of being. I do feel like that is a very big thing for us to be speaking on in terms of how will that make tomorrow look, next week look, next month look, okay? There's a lot of like people, young people our age, and I want to speak on my group, my age group, because I do feel like, being in your early 20s, it is like, I'm telling you, like, it's crazy how like what you do in your early 20s will have so much to do with your 30s and your 40s. We are in this space where you probably want to do a lot of new things, a lot of new experimental stuff, because you're growing up and you're shaping yourself into who you feel like you are, right? But the impulsivity rate right now when it comes to the society of like younger folks, I do feel like it's skyrocketing through the roof, okay? Even me, myself, there are certain impulsive decisions that I have made that definitely put me in a state of being set back majorly. I actually appreciate those things happening due to the fact that it's almost like it brought me to making this motherfucking video now and being a lot more conscious of what I should be doing moving forward. You understand what I'm saying? If you're the type of individual where you know that you apply every lesson in your life to, you know, how you move forward, then okay, that's good, you know, but not everybody is in that space and they need more assistance, which is totally fine. I do feel like you may not realize that it's crazy because life is so delicate in terms of like, okay, boom, I could get up right now, decide to go to a party at 8 o'clock. Hella delays start taking place to where you probably don't end up going at 8 o'clock anymore. You end up actually going at 9 o'clock. But you making that decision between 1 hour and another hour could have, it sounds crazy, but it could have literally saved your fucking life. This goes back into like the spiritual aspects of things. You understand what I'm saying? Don't be too stressed about, you know, when God makes certain delays in your life or whenever you are wanting to make a hasty decision or you're wanting things to change in your life so quickly. But there could be certain things in front of you that you do not see with the human eye. Okay. Again, which is why I feel like opening up your intuition is such a good thing to do. But for some reason, it just kind of gives a vibe where it's like, okay, you never know that you never know how God is protecting you. You understand what I'm saying? So moving slower, being more conscious, weighing out the pros and cons of certain things that you do before you do it, at least you will know that if you make a certain decision, you will know in your heart that you at least made sure that you moved with strategy as well as a particular plan before you just went ahead and did X, Y, and Z. Okay? Because that's honestly the reason why I've always came out of a lot of situations scot-free. Even if, like, you know, I made a human mistake or there are certain things that I should have known at that point that I know now. You understand what I'm saying? I really feel like it's because I take this time out to be like, okay, like, how is me talking to this person gonna affect me? How is me going to this place gonna affect me? You know what I'm saying? You're like, not a lot of people think like that. They don't have that conscious thought process prior to them doing certain things. And I'm not gonna lie, you can definitely see the difference between when a person makes that conscious, like they have that conscious thought process versus when they don't. You could definitely see the 360 difference. You understand what I'm saying? These are the things that I feel like just needed to get out there and be said. Okay, so whoever needs like more of a guide as to what they feel like they should do, I feel like the last thing that I would love to say is make sure you're making certain decisions that are truly according to your soul and your heart, what you generally feel like you should be doing. Okay? Don't let nobody steer you into, you know, doing certain things that you probably never saw yourself doing. Because I'm telling you, boy, like, y'all only seeing the video, not my whole life. But speaking from experience, y'all, real shit, that shit will really, like, boy, it would change your life. There's a lot of people out here that made a certain decision, like they never chose to leave that toxic partner, and they're not here no more, unfortunately. There's some people out here that made a decision to go to school and that literally changed their life from either getting out of the streets, being homeless, or, you know, being around the wrong crowd. Okay? There's some individuals that, you know, took that step into healing themselves, actually in self-improvement, whether if it has spiritual aspects or spiritual consciousness attached to it or not, it doesn't matter. As long as you're improving yourself, that's all that matters. There's some people that made that one decision and where they would have been at one point in their life, now they are completely saved and protected from that reality or that possibility just because of that one decision. Okay? So the butterfly effect. All right. I love you guys so much. Once again, I am an intuitive reader. If you guys are ever interested in booking a reading, okay, all of my information will be in the description down below. Okay? I love you guys so much. Tina. Okay? Make sure you guys follow, like, and subscribe.